Thank you for your interest in the architecture major at the University of Maryland. This presentation just covers a couple of important details to remember about this. That is to say, we're going to be covering some of the most important things that you need to know if you are just coming into the University of Maryland as a freshman or somebody who's coming in from another institution. The first most important thing to think about is who we are and who you can talk to get information about your questions. And the most important person to know about is Brent Hernandez. Brent Hernandez is the Director of Student Services for the Architecture Department, and you can reach him at the email listed right there. He can answer most of your questions. Likewise, Greg Weaver, who is our Senior Advisor for the Master of Architecture, as well as the Real Estate Development and Construction Project Management minors. You can reach him at the email address listed right there as well. If you have any kind of question that has to do with job placement, trying to make sure your resume looks good, trying to find an internship, etc., you're going to want to talk to Kristen Tepper. She is our Career Services Specialist and URSP Advisor. You can reach her at the email address listed right there as well. And finally, if you have general questions about anything to do with degree requirements, etc., you will find a rotating group of student advisors who are available at archadvise@umd.edu. Currently, that includes Gazina Pryor Azevedo, Brendan DeCoster, and Maria Farietta. There are a few very important things to remember about advising in the architecture department. One of the biggest is that there is mandatory advising every semester, including completion of particular types of paperwork. Beyond this, you must regularly check your university email. That means Terp mail or a UMD address. If you're just coming into the university and you don't have a university email yet, we'll keep emailing you at your Gmail address or Hotmail or, God forbid, AOL. As soon as you do have a university email address, all of the official communications from the university will go to that. If you need help with it, please contact DIT at the web address listed right here. Failure to complete any kind of advising requirements each term will cause delays in registration. What that means is, if you don't talk to us each term, you're going to have a very hard time signing up for classes. The place where you're going to do all of this, and please remember it well, is testudo.umd.edu. This is a place where you're going to register for classes, find classes, apply to graduate, look at your transcript, and many other things. Many of us are coming in from other institutions. So if you are, or if you've taken a lot of AP tests, what you want to do is check your unofficial transcript, because your unofficial transcript lists how courses have transferred to UMD. You can go to Testudo to find this. In fact, you can do it by clicking on the link right here, and that will show you your unofficial transcript. Make sure to check your unofficial transcript carefully to see if anything is missing, including AP or IB courses, and any courses you've taken at other institutions. If you find that you are missing credits, please make sure to send official and updated transcripts and/or test scores from College Board or your previous institution or institutions to our registrar's office. You can see this web address for more information about this. There are 3 parts to your UMD degree, and those 3 parts are Gen Eds, or General Education Requirements, Major Courses, and Elective or Minor Credits. General Education, which is of course your Gen Eds, is 40 to 46 credits. The requirements for a major, in this case the architecture major, are 62 credits. And finally, there are elective and/or minor credits. These total 18 to 20. All told, this adds up to 120 credits. If you want to complete this in about 4 years, that means you would need to take 14 to 16 credits each semester. The first part of these is general education. For architecture, this means the following: Fundamental Studies, Distributive Studies, Scholarship and Practice, and Diversity are the 4 pieces that we're looking at here. The first part, Fundamental Studies, is the component that shows the most basic skills that we feel like you need to have at the University of Maryland. These include academic writing, professional writing, oral communication, mathematics, and analytic reasoning. Of these, several are things that you can get done quickly, and we recommend that you do. Particularly, academic writing. This is English 101. If you've taken several AP courses, or maybe you've taken an academic writing course at another institution, hopefully you'll be able to transfer this in. If not, this is a course that you want to take very quickly in your studies. This is different from FSPW or professional writing. This is something you can only take after you have already completed 60 credits of studies. This is something a lot of people complete in their 3rd or 4th year of studies. So please don't worry if you haven't completed this yet. That's something that people usually complete at the end of their degree. Next up is oral communication. For several of us, we like to get things done quickly. With this one, you don't necessarily have to. If you are planning on pursuing a Bachelor of Science, then the very last course in your studio sequence, that is Architecture 403, will count as an oral communications class. If, on the other hand, you are planning on completing a Bachelor of Arts degree, then you will want to take a separate oral communications class. Mathematics usually consists of anything from Math 113 up to Math 140. That's just for the university requirements. However, the most important thing to remember for architecture is that we require either Math 120 or Math 140. These are required for architecture. You cannot get away with doing Math 113 or Math 115. It has to be Math 120 or Math 140. Make sure that you remember this. Next up, we have our Distributive Studies. These are to show that you've got breadth, that you have looked at various parts of education throughout the spectrum. The first of these is Natural Sciences with a lab. So that means, for architecture, Physics 121. This means it's a 4-credit course that contains a laboratory component. This is very important. We cannot do other physics courses if they don't have a laboratory component, even if they are a higher level class. So make sure that you've taken Physics 121 and that it is 4 credits with a laboratory component, even if you're getting this through transfer credit. I won't go through the rest of these here. I will simply say these are essential courses, and you will be able to look them all up on Testudo, and you can find whether or not you have completed them on your degree audit. I will also say this. If you have completed an associate's degree at a community college in the state of Maryland, then by agreement, all of your general education requirements will be waived. That's very important. If you have not completed the associate's degree, if you only took some courses, then this is not going to work for you. Also, if there is some doubt about whether or not you completed the associate's degree, you will need to check in with your original institution to see if you did that. Make sure to check it out, and make sure to send updated transcripts to the University of Maryland. Mandatory advising. You are required to meet with your academic advisor every semester to create and/or update your academic plans. You will not be able to register for courses for the following semester unless you actually meet with an academic advisor each term. So, what should you do? Well, it's pretty dang simple. You're going to receive a registration date and time to register for classes for the next semester. You'll get that in your email, and you can also find it on Testudo. The date and time are determined by course credits that you have earned. And you can find that, as I said, on Testudo, right at this particular web address. Make sure that you have scheduled an appointment to talk to an advisor before this date and this time. Try to schedule it at least 1 week before, if not earlier. And please keep in mind, you need permission from architecture advisors to register for most upper-level architecture courses. So please, if you're ever wondering, just email archadvise@umd.edu for more information about this. A few very critical pieces of information. 1. You are required to earn a minimum of a C- in all courses required for architecture, and that includes Math 120 and Physics 121. And for all of us who have transferred in, please keep in mind that this means if you received a grade of less than C- for Math 120 or Physics 121, you're going to need to retake those courses. 2. Several architecture courses are only offered once a year. Here's a list of them. These courses, 200, 201, etc., are only offered once each year. That means if you do not complete these courses on time and with a C- or better, your graduation date could be delayed for a year or even more. 3. You are required to achieve a 2.0 GPA to maintain satisfactory academic progress. If you fall below a 2.0 cumulative GPA, you will be placed on academic probation. What that means is you remain on probation and you have to talk to advisors to register for just about any course until your cumulative GPA is 2.0 or above. Failure to achieve a semester GPA of 2.0 while on probation will result in dismissal from the university. And if your cumulative GPA drops below 2.0 after 60 credits, you will be dismissed from the university. So keep in mind, we want to make sure you're getting a C- or better in everything. One big question that we get very frequently is about the various paths that we have to graduation. We have a BA, we have a BS, we have kind of a blended path too. In reality, there's two main paths, the Bachelor of Arts and the Bachelor of Science in Architecture. The BS path is competitive. You have to apply to get into it. The BA path, on the other hand, is open to anyone who wants to study architecture. The BS path requires 4 studio courses, that's 400 all the way up to 403, 3 materials and structures courses, that is 464, 465, and 466, 2 upper-level electives, or ULEs, and 2 directed electives, or DEs. The BA path, or Bachelor of Arts path, requires 1 studio course, that's Architecture 400. It requires 10 upper-level electives, or ULEs, and 2 directed electives, or DEs. Both of these degree paths are designed to prepare you for a terminal architecture degree, or Master's in Architecture, which is necessary to be a licensed architect in the state of Maryland. The way that we deal with degree placement usually takes place spring term of your sophomore year. The first step is you will have to submit a portfolio. Now, if you are a transfer student, you may well have submitted this with your application. If so, this step will not apply to you, but for everybody else, it will. You will have to submit a portfolio with your work. Step 2 is a review of your GPA and your transcript, along with your portfolio and your statements of professional interest. And step 3 is when a decision is made. A decision will be made as to whether or not you will continue on the Bachelor of Arts path or the Bachelor of Science track of the architecture major. For the Bachelor of Science, you'll notice that the first 2 years will actually look exactly the same as the Bachelor of Arts, because as I said, we don't place people into the Bachelor of Science track until spring term of your sophomore year. The Bachelor of Science track is a pre-professional architecture degree. It's designed to try to get you ready and have advanced standing in the Masters of Architecture program at the University of Maryland. The Masters in Architecture at the University of Maryland is an accredited degree because it is terminal. Now keep in mind, the Bachelor of Science is not an accredited degree. You still have to get the Master's if you want to be a licensed architect. With a Bachelor of Science, the Master's in Architecture usually takes about 2 years. There are 4 studio courses that are required. They take place on Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. You're going to be doing them for 3 consecutive semesters, starting in fall term of your junior year. The Bachelor of Arts in Architecture is again a pre-professional degree, but it's focused more on liberal arts, and it does not give you advanced standing in the Masters of Architecture. However, it offers flexibility in the academic course plan, and that does allow you to take certain courses, provided you have a good GPA, in the studio track, so you might actually be able to save some time there too. We strongly suggest that if you are doing the Bachelor of Arts path, that you consider a minor as well. A Master's in Architecture, as I said before, is an accredited degree at the University of Maryland because it is a terminal degree. The Bachelor of Arts and the Bachelor of Science are not accredited because they are not terminal degrees. In order to be a licensed architect in the state of Maryland, you must have a Master's in Architecture. With a Bachelor of Arts in Architecture, a master's degree usually takes between 2.5 and 3.5 years. There's some difference because there is flexibility in whether or not you take studio courses. 1 studio course is required, that's Architecture 400. There are 2 additional optional studio courses, and possibly more. They do not give you very much advanced standing in the master's program. However, if you have a 3.0 GPA in your senior year, you would be eligible in the Bachelor of Arts path to take 2 studio courses that do provide advanced academic standing for the Master of Architecture program. Please keep this in mind. Some of the most important takeaway messages from this presentation are this. You can take several studio courses with either a BA or a BS. A 3.0 minimum GPA is the key to being able to do this with a Bachelor of Arts path. And also, as I've said multiple times, earning a master's degree is the end goal for both the BA and the BS path. There are several popular minors with architecture students. Above all, if you can do it, try to get into construction project management if you have any interest. This is a competitive program that's only available to people who have a 3.0 GPA at the University of Maryland and 60 credits already completed. Another very popular minor, which is very useful as well, is real estate development. If you have interest, definitely check it out. This requires a 2.0 GPA at the University of Maryland, and you do have to begin the minor by the start of your sophomore year. Finally, another very popular minor is sustainability. This also requires a 2.0 GPA, and you do have to declare it a full academic year before graduation. That means you could declare it anytime up until your junior year. Please also keep in mind that only 6 credits can overlap between your major and your minor, and no credits can overlap between 2 minors. Don't worry about that right now. We'll talk about it more in advising. Finally, if you want to get involved with various student groups in architecture, we highly recommend it. It's a great way to meet people, and it's a great way to establish good connections in the business world. These are some of the groups that we've got, and we encourage you to take a look at them. If you have any additional questions, please always feel free to contact us at archadvise@umd.edu. Thank you, and good luck in your decision-making process.